I really don't understand. When I went to go check this film out in the theaters, there were a ton of parents that had small children. All the children had to be under 10 years old. I don't know what they were thinking. I guess they wanted to scar their children. 5 years after surviving Art the Clown's Halloween massacre, Sienna and Jonathan are still struggling to rebuild their shattered lives. As the holiday season approaches, they try to embrace the Christmas spirit and leave the horrors of the past behind. But just when they think they're safe, Art returns, determined to turn their holiday cheer into a new nightmare. The film stars Lavera, David Howard Thornton, Antonella Rose, Elliott Fullam, Samantha Scaffidi, and Margaret and Florence, and was directed by Damien, Leone, and he has done all the Terrifier films. So going into Terrifier 3, I honestly did not watch a trailer for this film whatsoever. 2 years ago, I just discovered Terrifier. I know the first Terrifier film came out in 2016, but I did watch the film for the first time 2 years ago. And I did rewatch it recently. Now, that film had a budget of $35,000. There really wasn't really much of a plot with that film. He's just kind of going around actually killing people, and just, the special effects and everything are really good for that budget that was actually had for that film. And then Terrifier 2 came along, and that got a theater release. And with that one, I liked it a lot better than the first one. I thought that the story was a lot better. You had a budget of $250,000. And now you flash forward to 2 years later, and you have Terrifier 3. Now, I'll first start off by saying that Art the Clown, played by David Howard Thornton, he is so good at this role. His humor, his facial expressions, the fact that he never speaks whatsoever on screen, and the way that he just has a characterization in this film, and just in all the films altogether, he does such a good job. He's so comfortable with this role, and I enjoy him on screen. But the fact that this had a $2 million budget, and the fact that Art the Clown is getting very popular, I was really concerned going into this film, mainly for the fact of how they were going to shoot this film, and just how they were going to really keep it towards the first two films. And I'll say this, I actually do like how this film is actually shot. It is stripped down. It isn't very high budgeted the way that they shot the film. It still is grainy at parts in the film, which I did actually like. And then the actual colors of how they shot the film, and just the way that they did the costumes, the Christmas spirit. I love the holiday cheer music in here. And I love when Art is actually wearing the Sienna costume in this. And the opening of this film is absolutely brutal. Then you go into the fact that you have these two main characters. You have Sienna and Jonathan. They were in the last film, and the fact that they included them again, I was like, okay, sweet. So we have both of them back in the film, but it really focuses on Sienna and the fact that Art is obviously back in town, and she's very much terrified at the fact that he is back in town. And throughout this film, I will say that if you really love blood and gore, you're going to get plenty of it here. I mentioned in my intro that there was a bunch of little kids in here. We actually had a family that actually walked out, and the little kid couldn't take it, and I honestly can't blame him. And also there was an older guy that actually couldn't take it, and he left as well. So this is not for the faint of heart. Wouldn't recommend eating food if you're going to go check out this film, because it doesn't hold back in its blood and gore. One thing that I really wanted in this film that we really didn't get is I was really hoping with the story of this film, we were going to have Art the Clown actually go around as Santa Claus and really terrorize a neighborhood and just kind of go from house to house, but we really don't get that. I think the plot is very weak here, and I honestly think there is no excuse for it. And the reason why I say that is there's plenty of time to actually develop a plot here. You mainly have Sienna, who is with her family around the Christmas time, and she is obviously really worried at the fact that Art is around. So you have that whole factor with the family, which not a lot is really developed. She has Gabby, this little girl that is part of her family, and we get a little bit of development with them. And then Jonathan, who really has nothing to do here. Beyond the family dynamic, it really shows Art in random scenes where he is just killing random people that have nothing to do with the story and nothing to do with the plot. For instance, there is this house that Art and his companion are staying at. They kill off these people that actually go to this house. And then there is another scene where they're actually at a bar, in which there is a funny scene that goes down involving Santa Claus. And that's kind of how this film goes. There's just kind of random scenes with random characters, and there's actually quite a bit of characters that are introduced. There is this one girl that actually hosts this podcast that really loves killers and really wants to get into killers. And there's not really much with that plot, but she really loves the fact of killers and wanting to get into their mind, and she has this wish to actually see a killer face to face. So there's a little bit with that actually involves Jonathan in the plot. But other than that, from a plot standpoint, this film is quite boring. And when the fact that Art is actually not on screen, I can't really say I was enjoying the plot. There really isn't any excuse to not really have a decent plot here, especially with the older characters, because the movie is 2 hours and 5 minutes, and the last movie as well was over 2 hours, and I thought the plot was done a lot better. And I just felt this time, from a writing standpoint, it wasn't done well. Yes, the kills were very gory. There were plenty of crazy kills. There was funny moments in the film that had me laughing. But when Art isn't on screen, the movie is kind of a bore to actually watch. You want kills and gore? Yeah, of course you're going to get that. You're going to get those funny moments. You're going to get some really moments where you're like, holy crap, that just went down. Yeah, you're going to get that. But the film, it just doesn't do a really good job of keeping you interested in the plot or really caring about the characters. Even with the third act, it just gets really bonkers and really out there. And honestly, I don't even know where they could go with a fourth film. I'm sure they will make a fourth film. I believe this made, I think, around $12 million so far, maybe a little bit more. And honestly, I just don't feel like they really care about making a really good plot with these movies, because they know that people just love Art the Clown. They love to just see him hack around people and blood, guts, and gore, and the humor with him. They can just be really lazy with the plot, and people are going to absolutely love this film. And I understand that people really love this character, and I do too. I think that he has a lot of funny moments, and I think that the kills and gore, yeah, they're there. But when it comes down to it, from a plot standpoint, it's lazy. It's really not that great. And honestly, for me, as far as a score, I would give it a 3 out of 5. I mean, I enjoy it to an extent, but if I'm going to watch this film, it's going to be something where I just want to watch like blood, guts, and gore. I'm not going to watch it for the plot, but at the same time, I do feel like it's a little bit of a drag to get through at points in this film, because like I said, there just isn't really much in the plot department to really get you through the film. And the fact that you sit there for 2 hours, over 2 hours at that, in a theater, at points, it's just a little bit too boring for me. So unfortunately, I can only give this a 3 out of 5, but I do recommend to check this out if you're someone that really loves horror, blood, guts, and gore. If you love the character, definitely go check it out. What did you guys think about Terrifier 3? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And how do you feel about the franchise as a whole? How do you rank the franchise from the first to the third film? Let me know down in the comments. As far as for me, I would say 2 is my favorite one. I would say this one is probably my second favorite one, and then the first film is my least favorite one. So overall for me, I can say that I recommend this to a point, but if you're looking for a plot, I would say I don't recommend this film. But thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you guys next time.